Want some bacon?
No, man, I don't eat pork.
Are you Jewish?
No, I ain't Jewish. I just don't dig on swine, that's all.
Why not?
Pigs are filthy animals. I don't eat filthy animals.
Yeah, but bacon tastes good. Pork chops taste good.
Hey, sewer rat may taste like pumpkin pie, but I'd never know because I wouldn't eat the filthy mother.
You're getting a late-night Tarantino snack, unless you're watching the show in the afternoon, of course. In that case, it's an interesting lunch. Tarantino and Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson, and Prejudice against pork, bacon in particular. Look, I understand religious limitations for some, but it's just flat-out delicious for a lot of people who will eat meat. Unfortunately, the mainstream health industry does villainize bacon. It's public health's number one, public enemy number one. And fat in general, egg, cheese, steak, labeled as what? Sadistic heart cloggers, a guilty pleasure. At best, eat at your own risk, but a guilty pleasure. We become a low-fat, obsessed culture. It is impacting on public policy. The question is it natural? I mean, look at the poor pooch reacting to being offered a stick of low-fat jerky. I mean, it kind of tells you something, does it not? Might be time to bust some myths here. But according to our next guest, bacon is healthy. It's time to rid yourself of all that guilt. Joining us now, the author of The Silver Cloud Diet, celebrity dietitian Dr. John Salerno. Dr. Salerno, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, I just want to be absolutely crystal clear here. It's only a certain kind of bacon. Now, you don't want any bacon that has too many nitrates in it, right?
No, that's exactly right. We want nitrate-free bacon. That's the main issue that we need to get a point across. There has to be nitrate-free, absolutely.
So it's not the fat in bacon that is a problem, unless you, of course, have too much of it. It's those nitrates in the processing.
Yes, absolutely, in the processing and in the preservatives. So whenever you're looking at labels for bacon, it's clear that you must look for nitrate-free. That's the primary issue, and that's clearly once you're finding nitrate-free bacon, the rest of the meal can be enjoyed. It's truly a health food to be savored.
Let's talk about the components, because it doesn't matter whether we're talking about bacon or cheese. We're talking really about fat. That's where the discussion is. What's the nutritional value of fat? What's the benefit for us humans, us human fat eaters who have lots of fat? What's the benefit?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, it's interesting. If you look at the neurons, the brain cells of the human body, 80% of it is composed of fat. So the idea that we should eliminate fat from our diet or have an extremely low-fat diet is truly detrimental to the health, particularly of our neurons and our other cell membranes, which are also heavily composed of fat. So we never advocate low fat. We want natural fat the way nature was intended to for us. Bacon, for example, has a good amount of saturated fat and also monounsaturated fat. In fact, more monounsaturated fat, the fat that's found, for example, in olive oil. So this type of fat is extremely beneficial. A study just came out over the last probably 2 months on the Mediterranean-style diets that they looked at for the last 3 or 4, 5 years, and lifestyles that incorporated this type of high amount of good fat. Patients had much less risk for heart disease and stroke, and we clearly see that here in my practice and my patients that follow my book, The Silver Cloud Diet, of course, living long, happy, healthy lives here in New York.
All right, so the doctors who are recommending against, are they really saying you should have zero, or are they saying that you could develop cravings for more, and if you get lost in that world of cravings, then you're going to have a big problem?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the interesting things is when they looked at saturated fats and why it was vilified in all the studies is that they never took into account that when you have, for example, a hamburger, you have it with a bun, and you have hamburgers generally with French fries, particularly here in the States. When you have, for example, a steak, you're having it with potentially large amounts of mashed potato, for example, and bread. They took that out of the equation, so when they looked at patients or people that were eating a high amount of saturated fat, they never looked at the other issues, particularly French fries, which contains the true bad fat, the synthesized fats called trans fats. That's the major issue, and that's clearly a major problem when we're dealing with fats. We want to avoid synthesized, unnatural trans fats.
All right, so Dr. Salerno, would you recommend a breakfast that is nitrate-free bacon, a couple of eggs, and no bread, no hash browns? Would you consider that a healthy breakfast?
Absolutely. I have it pretty much every day, Monday through Friday.
So every Monday through Friday, you've got the bacon and the eggs, no bread, no hash browns.
Yes, I'll switch that to sausage generally on the weekend with an omelet when I'm at home. But pretty much every day is bacon, egg, cheese without any breads or rolls.
All right, no breads, no rolls. Here's the question I need to ask you because I'm a Canadian and we've got a Canadian audience. Yeah, we got people around the world watching us on the net. God bless them all. Happy Easter to them. But I need to ask you this as a Canadian. It's kind of a loyalty thing. We love back bacon in this country, and we know that many Americans aren't really into back bacon. They're into side bacon, but not back. So I just wonder, have you ever exposed yourself to wonderful Canadian back bacon?
No, I have not, but I would be honored to try some. Absolutely.
There's a lot of meat on those strips, and it's very, very tasty, sir.
Yes, I've heard, absolutely, and a lot of good of the same type of fat that we're talking about, the natural fats, and clearly that adds to the flavor, not just the protein of the bacon. So it sounds very enticing, but I can't say I've actually tried it yet. Would love to.
All right. Now, in the interest of being as inclusive as possible, we've also got people watching this show who are vegetarians. Where should they be getting their fat from? Because clearly it's not going to come from bacon.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. With vegetarians, we like to look at beans, for example. Kidney beans is a great source of protein, and we like them also, if they can have eggs, that we advocate eggs for them for their source of fat. Clearly, as many eggs a week as they can have is extremely important so they can get the cholesterol and the saturated and monounsaturated fats that are necessary for cell production in life.
Now, I don't mean to grind you too much here, sir. You've done a great job for us. But what about those vegans? I mean, they can't even have the eggs.
Yeah, we worry about the vegans because it's clearly an issue over time in supplementing fats into their diet. So, for example, tofu will have a certain amount of fats. We advocate them putting plenty of oils on their salads, for example, so that they can get the saturated, the oleic acid, which is common in monounsaturated fats, for example, olive oil. Avocados are a great source of fat for the true vegans.
Dr. Salerno, thank you very much. Once again, I want to wish you and your patients and your family and your readers a happy Easter. We recommend the Silver Cloud Diet. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Good holidays there, too.
Dr. John Salerno, Madison Avenue, New York City. Don't forget to tune in to our Chorus radio show in markets across the country, Pacific to Atlantic and Toronto Talk Radio AM 640, CJOB 68 in Winnipeg, 630 Chet in Edmonton, QR in Calgary, the Rolco team in Saskatoon and Regina. Call us on Monday at 665-2202.